There we go. Now we're live. Just gonna wipe my stage. So what have you been up to, Miss Anna? It's really good to see you.
Oh, it's so good to see you. It's so good to be here. What have I been up to? So fucking much.
Yeah. Never a dull moment, huh? Not on this rock.
Yeah, well, and it's been like for me, it's just been a lot of like personal development in a way that is difficult to explain. Like I set out on a journey at the beginning of this year to find my voice, to make my life delicious as something that I don't want to escape from, and to really be in my power. And oh my God, it's been so fucking incredible. Like, it's been so incredible. And I know, like, we're going through a lot of stuff energetically right now with this collective 9 year, the full moon, the 6/6 portal that we just had, all the things. It's a lot, right?
Yeah,
Like,
it
let's
is.
be real. It's been a lot. People have been having a lot of sleep disturbances, trouble getting to sleep, insomnia, getting incredible visions, dreams, things, all the things. And it's all here, like showing us so much. So we need to make sure that we're paying attention to it because it's helping you move through so much stuff. Like what I've personally been going through is been dropping shields of anger, fear, resentment, because I
Yeah.
recognize that by having those shields up, I was also preventing myself from feeling love, joy, excitement. Right? When
Well,
you
that's
shield
why we're
yourself from
here,
those things,
right?
you
It's
shield
for the
yourself from the
joy,
good.
the love, and the excitement, and all the personal growth that can occur. Yeah.
Mhm. Yeah, exactly. So I've been very intentional with like my portal gatherings. I have a membership group called the Cosmic Glow Up Club, and I've been very intentional with that space in these portal gatherings because we have them every month. Like the 5/5, we just had 6/6. Next one will be 7/7, and the growth and transformations that I'm seeing from the people who are being intentionally working with it has also been super incredible because every month has a different theme, and this month's theme is harmony and balance, but specifically around relationships. So I feel like there's been a lot of people that have been having some shit come up around family, friends, maybe even their intimate partners, and things may be a little bit rocky, and that's okay. It's because we're rebalancing, we're recalibrating, because in this collective 9 year, we're also letting a lot of shit go.
Yeah, we are.
So we're kind of like being the Marie Kondos of our own life to be like, is this person bringing me joy? No, fuck you, get off the boat.
It was funny. I was pulling cards the other night, and a friend, I pulled a card that got 2 of cups, and it was like, "Oh, you got a relationship that's coming." She's like, "I don't want one of those. I need money." And it was really funny because I saw that meme yesterday, and I was like, "Wow, this is accurate." Because I shared a meme yesterday. It says, "I don't want boys. I need money right now."
Yeah.
Everybody's really trying to manifest cash. And it's funny how many of us are actually kind of stepping into our power, which means, in a way, sometimes I mean stepping away from relationships rather than starting new ones.
Or if you are in a relationship, redefining them.
Yes.
So I've been in my partnership for 17 years and we're coming up on 13 years married.
Wow. Time sure
And
flies.
it does. But the thing is, I would say for the better part of the last decade, we have spent a lot of time in disconnection because, roles change, right? Suddenly we're parents. Suddenly we've got all these new responsibilities. Suddenly we've got this, we've got that. And then you get into these new ruts where it's like, okay, well, this is just our life now. And him and I literally sat down right before the 5/5 portal and we're like, are we going to continue going in this direction or are we going to choose each other? And it took me a while to really sink into that and be like, okay, well, what does that mean? And what does that look like? And for me, it meant I needed to let go of all of that anger, resentment, and things that I was hanging on to because he didn't put the dishes in the dishwasher, or because he didn't pick up his laundry off the floor, or because he didn't do this or he didn't do that. And it was just reminding myself, like, I need to speak for my own needs, wants, and desires and place boundaries. So we've completely redefined our relationship over the last month. And it has just been incredible. Like it feels like we just started dating again, but it's like a new relationship, but with somebody that you know really well and fucking trust.
Yeah.
So there's also that part of the coin too, because sometimes we need to look at ourselves and be like, okay, how have I contributed to our disconnect? How have I contributed to things that are not allowing this to feel good? And is it a possibility for me to reflect on myself and be like, I see what I've done. Can I move forward? But if you're in a situation where you're like, that it's toxic and there's nothing you can do about it, then yeah, absolutely get the fuck out. But if there's a piece of you that's like, no, I haven't done everything I can to show up as my best self, and take that accountability and be like, okay, so what can I do differently? And that's what we've been doing. We've been talking about how we can start showing up differently for each other. Like the communication has been absolutely unreal. And I fucking so fucking grateful, because the thing I'm noticing is the more joy filled and blissful I feel around my relationship, then it is also bringing in the manifestation. So there's something about being with like a divine counterpart that you really align with that helps bring that forth even more. So even though you're like, no, I don't want boys, if you allow yourself to be open to it and it's a really good match, then that can help you move further, right?
Yeah, true. I mean, I don't have time for boys right now, but
But this is where you need to get good at your time
what you mean,
management, my girl.
yes.
That's where you get to create boundaries and be like, okay, so I don't want to work from this time to that time. I want to leave myself open and available to the possibility of something,
Yes, that is beautiful. And I do
Yeah.
feel that a lot of people are starting to understand that vibration carries a big role in all of this. Because if you're
Mhm.
mismatching vibrationally, you're not going to be able to understand each other. You're going to have all this kind of miscommunication happening. And also, if you're trying to attract a partner, a better partner, because a lot of us keep attracting the same type of person over and over, which is why we're kind of like, is this like a thing? Like, like, is this just the kind of person I attract? This is the kind of vibration that you carry, which means you're going to attract a certain similar vibration. So as you move
Yeah.
up and, you are making yourself healthier, happier, just embrace. This is why they always say, if you truly love yourself, you'll find the partner that's right for you, because you're going to be in that right mindset and in the right vibration to attract something that is high vibe like that.
Exactly. And that's why so many people say that like they find their soulmate when they gave up trying. It's because they didn't give up trying necessarily, but they started working more on themselves,
Yeah.
which then opened the opportunity for somebody else to love them, right? Because if we
And to
are
release
not loving,
expectation too is a big part of this.
yes, yes, but also like if we're not loving ourselves at that level, we can't expect anybody else to love us at that level, because it's not anybody else's responsibility to make us happy. We need to be happy in our own selves. And then the rest of it just gets to be the fucking cake, the icing, the cherry, the ice cream, whatever the fuck you want to call
I wish
it.
somebody had told my younger self this, because I was one of those fixer-upper types where I'll see a guy that's really down on his luck and I'll be like, oh, I can save you. Like, let me help you. Like, let me get you a car and a job and things that you need in life in order to be self-sustaining. And then as soon as they have all those things, they either have expectations of it keep being given to them, or they get complacent and they just expect more and more to be given. And it's like my dad, one of the most powerful things he ever said to me, he was like, wow, you're like a garage for broken cars. As soon as they're fixed, they drive away. And I was like, like, ouch. But it's true, because I would constantly try and help people that were struggling, you know what I mean, in life for all kinds of different reasons. Yeah.
Yeah, well, and I think that that's truly like the plight of the light worker. That's the plight of the empath, of the highly sensitive person, because we see the best in everybody. We see everybody's potential. And sometimes we let our own boundaries get blurred because we're like, I see all of that potential. And we fall in love with the potential versus the person,
Oh my
right?
God, story of my life.
Girl, well, I think that's the story of a lot of people's life. But the more that you work on your own shit, especially that shadow garbage that likes to drag us down and bring us into those lower vibes to attract those shitty partners, it keeps happening unless you are so intentional with taking care of yourself through all of that, right? Because that's what I worked on. The last time I was here, not the spring equinox, but the one before, I talked about that shadow work. I talked about that book that I created, and I fucking took that shit and I ran with it. I did it for myself. And now I get to be here, like probably, I don't even know how long ago that was, 4 months ago, and be like, yeah, I might not be done all my shadow work, but I did a lot of it. And my life literally feels like new phone who dis. Like this is my life right now.
It's so funny. There's a couple people relating to this in the comments. Jessica says, "Who's reading my past diary?" It cracked me up.
Girl, it's because we've been there, we've done that, we've been doing it. But now, because of this collective 9 year, so many people, especially women, are saying, no more. Fuck this. Fuck them fuck boys. Fuck them boys that don't know what they're doing. Fuck them boys that aren't willing to look at their own shit too. Fuck
And
all
this also
that.
is
Let's
multi-gender, by the way. This is also for the men who are also in the. We're not saying
yes.
all fuck all
Okay,
the
yes,
boys.
absolutely. Thank you for saying that, because women can be like that too. 100% women can be
Oh
toxic.
yeah.
They can be fuck girls. Absolutely. I agree. But it's just really coming back to the self, right? And being able to speak for your wants, needs, and desires, and be able to set healthy boundaries that are not created out of anger, fear, and resentment, but boundaries that are created out of love and desire. Because that's when you'll be able to hold on to those boundaries and not let those lines get blurred anymore.
Well, that's a doozy right there. That's a game changer. It really is.
Absolutely. And
And
this
a
is
lot of
something I
us are
talk to
playing
my
a game we
clients
don't
about all
enjoy.
the time. Yeah, and this is what I talk to my clients about all the time. It's like, okay, I want you to evaluate where your boundaries are and ask yourself, is this boundary created from fear, resentment, or anger? Because if it is, then those are not healthy boundaries. You are blocking yourself from something by doing that. If
Yeah.
you're creating boundaries strictly from a loving place, like this is my need, want, desire, coming from love and desire, oh, that's golden fucking boundaries, girl.
Yes.
Golden.
RJ just said, asked a good question. Thank you, RJ. Are we ever done with shadow work? To a degree. I mean,
No.
it depends. It's funny because one of my friends the other day asked during an Akashic Records reading, she's like, what more do I have to do to go home? Like, what healing do I have to do? What shadow work do I have to do? And they said, you've already forgiven everybody. Your job is to not get into more drama with people that you have to, you know what I mean, to create more that you have to forgive and work on. Because there are some people that have been doing shadow work for lifetimes, many lifetimes, constantly just doing the work, doing the work, doing the work. And then they get to this point and they're like, oh, like make it stop. I can't take it anymore. And then we go into the record and they were like, oh, you've been overdoing it. Like you didn't have to do any of this. You've already accepted all these lessons. And I was a bit shocked by that. And I'm like, well, what is she working on now? Well, not accumulating more. And there are other lessons. Like it's not
Mm,
always about shadow because sometimes we've already pulled everything out of the closet. All this,
right.
everything is out of the closet. It's now what, like, where do we start rebuilding from all of that? How do we start creating a new person rather than wallowing in the past? Because so many of us do. We create our identities from what we've experienced in the past. And some of that is a very beautiful, good experience, which is wonderful. And in other situations, it was stuff that we never should have gone through in the first place, stuff that we never even asked to experience. So it's like this gray area of, it's like, what it reminds me of? It reminds me of being a farmer because it never ends. There's always something that needs to be fixed. There's always something that needs to be done. When do you ever rest with something like that?
Yeah. Well, I mean, I think that you get to experience a balance with it and not overdo the work either, because then that is dragging you down vibrationally too. But for me, it was just like I reached this point where I was like, okay, I recognize I'm still being triggered. And that's going to be your number one indication. And if you have shadow work to do, is if triggers are still existing, then there's still work to be done. So that's a pretty
Okay.
good way to like gauge where you're at. Right.
Yeah.
But then for me, what it really came down to was like, I was so sick and fucking tired of my life the way that it was. And I was like, I'm either going to keep living this existence or I get to choose to change. And I was like, you know what? I'm so done with this. Let's try something new. Let's see how this works out. Let's play with it. Let's play with it. This life is just a game anyway. So let's play with it. If I start showing up differently over here, now let me start witnessing how this has a ripple effect and where it's going coming in other places too. So like working on my marriage specifically now has been having a ripple effect of he's showing up differently. My son is showing up differently. The people that I'm around treat me differently, talk to me differently, recognize my vibration. And then all of that then translates out into my business, my clients, the things that I'm providing to the world as well. It's just a really beautiful place to be when you just are like, I'm so fucking sick of this shit. I know things are still going to come up, but let's just do something different. Let's play a game. Let's play a role for a moment and let's see how this feels and plays out.
Yeah. Ooh, I like that. Just go with the flow, as they say.
Yeah.
And it's sad
And then
because there are people out there that are doing everything right. And they still haven't found their partner yet. And so it's kind of like, well, what about me? And I honestly think that sometimes we don't have to be in a relationship. This is the thing, like everybody seems to think we have to pair up. But I honestly, how many old ladies I've seen that are happier now because, like that they were when they were married. Like I just don't see a point in all of it sometimes. Like if you're enjoying your life, like, I don't know. Humans are weird in some ways. Like,
yeah, well, I mean, I agree.
To pair up in order to be happy.
True. You don't need to pair up to be happy. And that's, I think, where the lesson truly is. It's like, be happy with yourself.
Yeah.
And then whatever comes. And if it is not in your path to have a divine counterpart or whatever, you get to be okay with that because you've already done so much of your own work that you're happy with yourself. So it doesn't really matter. But again, for some of us, it just gets to be really fucking delicious. And that gets to be fun too.
I don't know. I think I just have a different way of looking at it because I know this is my last human life. And so I'm just kind of like, peace out. Like I don't need any baggage whatsoever. So I'm actually like content either way. If it doesn't, it's good. And I think that's a good way of putting it, is just to be content with life regardless of what it hands you.
Yes. And that's probably like the biggest obstacle for most of us humans to overcome, because so many people think that happiness is like a destination, a place that we reach. But in honesty,
yes,
happiness gets to be a choice that we make.
Yeah.
And I know that can seem really fucked up, really, when we're in the shit. But if you just wake up every single day and be like, I choose happiness, and make that your affirmation the whole fucking day, eventually, as you continue to do that, it'll compound and have this really beautiful effect.
I've mentioned this a few times, but the happiest person I ever met was a homeless man on the streets of Dublin. And I still think of him all the time. And he didn't really want anything. He had a couple places that would give him food. He had a place where it was dry for him to sleep. If in the winter it gets really cold, he had people that would take him in, and all he wanted was to feed his birds. That's it. If he managed to scrape up a couple pounds to be able to feed the birds, then he was happy. And I actually spent a couple hours chit-chatting with this man. This was like 10 years ago when I was still backpacking. I still think of him all the time because he had almost nothing. I mean, everything he had, he was pushing around with him, and like this little shopping cart kind of thing. And yet he was singing, he was dancing around, he would chat with people. People walk by, make eye contact. Like he was just one of the sweetest people you'd ever meet. And a lot of people would look at him and think, oh, that poor man, but he's happier than everybody walking by him. And he had nothing. I still think of him all the time because whenever I'm sulking about something, I'm like, well, how he would have handled this. You know what I mean? Like,
yeah, well, I mean, what an incredible experience to witness somebody in that, though, right? Because then that does let you know that like materialism isn't the answer. Having more things isn't going to make you happy. Even having a partner isn't going to make you happy because nothing can actually make you happy. You just choose it every day. And plus, like, some souls are here to have a very simple life. And that was probably just his path. And that's why he can choose happiness so easily and freely, because he's living his path.
Yeah. Somebody just asked, if it's your last life, then dating would only bring in karmic reattachment. No, I have no idea, but one of those things where I think that karmic relationships are more about healing the past than continuing in the future. Because in many cases, a karmic relationship is something that you're working things out with still. It's because there's still going to be some shit that you got to sort out and figure out. Whereas a divine counterpart, it's supposed to be easy in many cases.
Yes, but there's always going to be like growing pains with a divine counterpart anyway, because you're like learning each other's love languages, you're learning each other's frequency, you're learning each other's habits, the ones that we don't always love. And then you get to create then like the boundaries and speaking for your wants, needs, and desires through that. And I think as long as both parties are very open to receiving without becoming defensive, then it can go very smoothly and it can go very easily. But it doesn't mean that there won't be any bumps whatsoever, because we just don't grow through easy. You know what I mean? Like we grow through the hard, and it's kind of a fucked up thing that we
That's all I've had my whole
have
life
to
and
go
I'm
through.
over it. No, every single one of my relationships have been super challenging. I'd rather just be single than have to deal with challenges, to be honest, in a relationship at this point. But I think a lot of people kind of feel that way, where they're finding out more about themselves by being single than they are in a relationship. Because a lot of people lose themselves in relationships. You end up adopting that other person's life as your own. Or at least grading your life into theirs somehow, and
right. But then that's somebody that's coming from like a wounded love, right? That's not somebody coming from a healed space. That's somebody coming from a wounded love where they can't still individualize themselves. And I mean, yes, when you do come into a partnership, there is going to be a natural like entanglement of your energies. But as long as you continue to care for yourself through all of that, then you're not going to lose so many pieces of yourself, or unlike me 10 years later wake up and be like, who the fuck is this? And then start working toward, okay, let's find her again because she was really fucking cool.
Well, they say the right people come into your life when they're meant to. There's these divine appointments, even those that ended up being a complete disaster of a relationship. It was still a divine appointment because it taught us something. We learned something about ourselves or about what we don't want in a relationship, which is equally powerful.
I was just going to say that. I'm like, sometimes learning what you don't want is just as powerful as what you do want.
Mm-hmm.
And that like transfers into all areas of life, all areas. Finding out what you don't want is just as important. So yeah, we need to be shown those things. Otherwise we don't know what we don't know. Right?
Yeah. Paulia says, when our soul is happy, everything else has no influence.
Yes. Yes.
I think that whatever works for you, whatever brings you joy is best. If that is something that is in your alignment, that's great. And if two people look at something completely differently, that's also great.
Absolutely. That's like kind of the beautiful thing of the human experience and our free will, is that we do get to make these choices for ourselves and experience this
Now,
however the fuck we
finally,
want
back in the
to.
day, we would have been an old maid and they would have been talking about Auntie Laura and her unmarried, nonsense, that kind of thing.
Oh, so that spinster Laura.
You know what I mean? Like, oh, that spinster. Don't talk to her. She's a bad influence. That kind of thing. Like, it's funny how much relationships have changed over just the last 50 years.
Yeah.
The relationships that our grandparents had are not the same way our relationships that we have. In fact, they've changed. They're like night and day different.
Well, because a lot of women have stood up and said, we're not taking this shit no more. Like, we are equally as valuable as you are. So guess what? We have a voice too. And like, that's what was so beautiful about all of the movements that happened in like the 60s and the 70s, is like, it was just really that power of like, no, I have a voice too. And those women really paved the way for us now. And I'm so appreciative for them because they had the bravery, the courage to stand up and to rise. And then it's just had this beautiful ripple effect. So again, bringing up that ripple effect of change. And it's just been so powerful, incredible.
Yeah. Cherie said, it's so easy to lose yourself being a wife, a mother. And then when it becomes you, then it's gone and you need to find yourself again.
Yes. And that's like basically where I was at. Like, I so like fully put myself into being a mom that I kind of forgot about the other pieces of existence for a long time.
Especially when you have a
And,
bunch
you
of
know,
kids
now
and it takes up your entire day. It's all your energy, all your focus for
I
18
only
years
have
of your life, if not longer.
I only have one, and that's exhausting enough.
I
So
know, tell me about it.
I know all about that, but like I just reached this point where I'm like, okay, he's just about 10 years old is when I started thinking about it. He's now over 10, but and I'm like, he's not going to need me a lot anymore. And, you know, I do love my husband and I would like to start finding myself so I can come back to him because I kind of like forgot about him in the whole mix and he just kind of existed, which was really unfair to him too. But I needed to find my way back to myself because when you become a mom, especially a first time mom, literally everything is fucking scary.
Mhm.
So it consumes so much of your energy that you don't have a lot left for yourself or your partner. And I feel like this is why so many marriages end after children is because women have a difficult time coming back to that wife role, coming back to that woman role, coming back into like their sacral where they get to be like sensual and sexual and have fun and play and things in the relationship again. And this is exactly what I have been developing for this last month, and how quickly things changed has been mind blowing. Just that's the only thing I can describe it as. It's just absolutely mind blowing.
No, that's beautiful. These times are very exciting, aren't they? Setting new
They are.
precedents all over the place.
Hmm. Yeah, and I feel like so many people are awakening to this, you know. I've had many conversations with friends who are in the same phase of their lives, like they're in their 40s, they have kids, they have partners, and everybody is starting to experience like this awakening in the sacral where, you know, they're feeling a lot more turned on about life and about things that are exciting them and they're letting their whole body feel it. And that is such a sacral activation, and I'm noticing more and more that like women are being very upfront about what they want. And it's been a really incredible journey to witness some of my friends and clients move through this. And it's been so inspiring that I'm actually launching a new program next month. And I'm doing early registration now, but it's called Hot Sacral Summer. And it's about like activating that sacral, getting into that sensuality, whether you're with a partner or not, and just really being intentional with your own body. And that helps you communicate with your higher self even more. I've been doing intentional masturbation, been having a lot of sex, been having a lot of fun.
Ah,
And I feel like I'm so in tuned with my body now that like I ask myself a question and higher self's like, yep, do this, 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 and this. I'm like, okay, do all those things. I'm like, fuck yeah, that was amazing and that was great. So yeah.
I love your honesty. Huh? We're all adults here. Why not? Well, I think that many of us are still kind of, I mean, a lot of women even believed you weren't supposed to even experience pleasure. Like you weren't
Mhm.
supposed to enjoy certain aspects of the relationship. It's just a duty. And so
Yeah.
that's another thing that we are kind of taking back in a way. And some people find that a little discomforting, a little threatening.
Yeah. It can be uncomfortable because how many conversations do y'all have with your partners about what you like in the bedroom? How many of y'all are telling your partner what exactly you want in the bedroom? This is where you get your power back through speaking your wants, needs, and desires. And yes, it might be a little uncomfortable at first, but I promise you, if you are with the right partner or even within yourself and you ask for these things, it will be received and it will be amazing.
I had a chat with one of the soul guides the other day because there's been a lot of sexual stuff coming up in some of the reports. In fact, there's a lot of men picking up succubi like recently. Like y'all watching porn or putting yourselves at risk, just letting you know. And I'm saying this to the guides, and I'm like, should I put this in the report? And they're like, yes, absolutely. He needs to know. And I'm like, all right, stop watching naughty shit. Like in the report.
Well, yes, because
Because
it's
that can
siphoning
drop
their energy.
so
It's
much stuff.
Yeah, it's siphoning their energy, but it's also like siphoning so much out of their sacral. So then now they're not able to show up for their partner in the same way or in a more aligned and emotional way because they're everything is being taken from them over there. And that's like something else that I've been noticing too with other people's partners is like when you are engaging in porn or other things that are not with your partner, then you're actually taking a lot of energy away from that partner and it makes you not desire them as much. So if you're not having that desire within the relationship, and it's not that sex is everything, but it's a big part of it. It's how you connect and come together, right? So then you have to look at yourself and be like, okay, I'm siphoning my energy through here. What can I do to move through this more easily and come back to my partner and show her how much I love her? And I know that those emotions can be difficult for some men. It can be difficult for women too. But if you're just willing and if you're at the point where you're like, I'm so fucking done living this way, then you've reached that top climax where you're like, this needs to change. And then you'll start making intentional changes.
Yeah. It was funny. I was asking one of the guides about humanity and why like certain things are more noticeable about our sexual relationships, you know, and why they are the way they are. And this one particular guide said, "Well, you do realize this is all by design, right?" And I said, "What do you mean?" And they said the fact that humanity was so low in number at certain periods, they actually had to genetically alter their sex drive. And they dialed it up several notches in order for humanity to replenish itself. And
Hmm.
that never got dialed back. So you will notice there's going to be some people out there, men especially, that are just, for lack of a better word, horny as hell and can't really find anything to do about it. It's not going away. So I asked the guys, I was like, if they're programmed this way, like it's not even technically their fault. They're just acting out the way they were designed. And he's like, yeah, exactly. And I'm like, so what do we do? Like, if you're somebody that has an extremely high libido and you're, you know, dealing with that level of frustration because you have so much sexual energy, you don't know what to do with it all. Like, how do you like navigate that? And he goes, you have to channel it. You can channel it into exercise. You can channel it into creating things. You can channel it into, you know, just all kinds of different things. Even making money, it can be channeled into. And
Yeah.
so, yeah, if you
Hold on. Sexual energy is one of the most potent energies for manifesting.
exactly.
Are you kidding? Absolutely.
Hmm.
And it doesn't mean that you have to be having sex or you have to be doing this or you have to be doing
Yeah,
that. It's just, like you said, channeling that energy, right? But there is such a thing as intentional masturbation where you're not using porn or not using any kind of toys or devices, but it's going to take a very, very deep level of emotional connection with yourself.
yeah,
And a lot of men and some women have a difficulty tapping into that depth of emotion.
yes,
But if you work at it, be intentional with it, do the care that you need to do for yourself, it will become easier. So if there are men out here listening, my challenge to you will be to like not stop if you're not ready to stop, but try to slowly wean yourself back because eventually it does become an addiction and you want to treat it like any other addiction and just like kind of dial it back. Start being more intentional, recognize the patterns and start breaking those cycles.
beautifully said. We're all a challenge, you know, everybody's going through something, whether or not it's you know, a sex addiction or a sugar addiction or a social media addiction. We're all dealing with something right now.
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. Addictions are everywhere. And I think this is like really a big facet of this like instant gratification. It then
Mhm.
creates all of these other areas where we now get to have these addictions, right? Like
Like
you
gambling,
can
you know what I mean? Yeah, and all these other things.
you can
Yep.
go on to you can go onto Amazon, you can buy a bunch of shit, it'll be here later that day or the
Mhm.
next day. Like this instant gratification is also another thing that if we were just to take the umbrella of that alone and remove ourselves from instant gratification, it's gonna change some shit.
That's the challenge right now. Is to be able to
Yeah.
identify that behavior in the first part is really important because a lot of people are so oblivious to it.
Yeah, awareness is key, absolutely. And that's one thing that I love about myself is that I can see a thing and I can be like, okay, I recognize this pattern, this cycle, this belief, whatever it is, highly aware, and then I get to move through it. But that's from years of doing the inner care, years of being in tune with my intuition, and years of coming back to my body. And like more recently, just this experience alone that I've been having over this last month has just like turned it up 100%. Like I'm hearing things, I'm seeing things, I'm so connected, and bringing fun and joy back into my life in a way that I hadn't had in a very long time. And because of that, plus working on my nervous system, because I recognized I was in a functional freeze, but because of all those combined things, y'all, I have dropped 20 pounds in 3 weeks
Nice.
from emotional crap just releasing from me by starting to choose different, to start to remove those addictions as best as I can, to start letting myself feel my feelings and be in my motherfucking body.
Escapism is where a lot of this is rooted in. So Daniel just said you can't be addicted to something that doesn't happen. Well, you can be addicted to chasing your own tail.
Yeah.
You may not catch it, but you get addicted to the chase.
You can also be addicted to your healing work too, because like you said, some people dig in deeper and deeper into things that maybe they didn't even really need to. You can become addicted to the healing journey and make that a crutch as to why you can't do this or why you can't do that, because I'm not in the place or I don't have the energy or blah, blah, blah.
I've seen quite a bit of that. Yeah.
Positive things can be addictive too.
Yes, that's true.
And that's why it's all about that balance, y'all. We're in June, 6/6 portal. We're also in numerology. We're in a collective 6-week and a collective 6-month. So everything that is out of harmony or balance is being shown to you so fucking hard right now. And if you have the awareness to pay attention, then that is going to help you literally jump timelines and jump into the life that you actually want.
I'm going to share your link. Ooh, Sparkling Energy Alchemy. Very nice.
Yeah.
So
in the link
goodies out for
tree,
you guys.
perfect.
What do you got going on?
In the link tree, I just want to talk about a couple things that are in there if anybody decides to go click over. Right now, I do have an application form up for the Hot Sacral Summer. So like I said, that is going to be an 8-week program that's going to be beginning in July, but there is early bird registration happening right now. And this is for like the woman who is like so fucking done with her boring ass life and stuck on the cycle and stuck on the hamster wheel of shit and wants to start feeling good, ignited, and lit the fuck up. That's who that's for. And then I have an application for Cosmic Glow Up Club. This is where if you want to work intentionally with portals, with moons, things of that nature, that's what we do inside of the Cosmic Glow Up Club. And then also in the link tree, you'll see a publications link. And that's where you can get access to all of my books. So I've got a shadow workbook, I've got coloring book, I've got seasonal guides. So like summer solstice is coming. I have a summer solstice guidebook there too. I've got so many books. Just go check it out if you want it.
How exciting. So you can get a lot of these on Amazon, I see.
Yes, all of my books are on Amazon. So you can even just search my name and all of my publications will come up on Amazon. Now I know that there are some countries that don't do
Girl,
the
you have
print on
so many
demand.
seasonal guides. It's unbelievable.
I have a seasonal guide for literally every season. And what it is it goes through all of the information of like what it represents, the element in which the season is connected to. And then I go through different activities and rituals in which you can do to
You
connect
have it
with
like
it.
the US version and the Canadian version because it makes me laugh. Like you guys do have very different environment than we do.
Well, no, the only difference there actually is just for the links, because if you're
Gotcha.
in Canada and you order from the US, it takes so much longer. But if
Gotcha.
you're
Okay.
in the US
We
and
do
you
have a
order
lot
from
of
US,
Canadian
it's really
followers.
fast.
That's very helpful. Thank you. I love your
Yeah, so
coloring
that's why I
books,
set it up
by the
that
way.
way.
They're so beautiful. I'm just looking real quick at the spring equinox guide. That is stunning.
Sorry, which one are you looking at?
I'm just looking at the spring equinox one. The colors that you chose, it's so lovely.
Yes, everything is very intentional with those books. I've connected them with specific colors for a reason. Then we have the elements. So I always bring in the elements to all of the work that I do, because I feel like that's a really big part of our balance as well, is making sure that we're letting in that water, our emotions, air, our intelligence, bringing in that fire, which is our passion, and then bringing in that earth that just lets us be in our body. It's so important to allow all of those elements to be a part of it. And each season is associated with a different one. So we've got summer solstice coming up. This is going to be associated with fire. So this is why Hot Sacral Summer is being launched, because it's going to help you connect to that inner fire, to that passion, to all of the things, which is everything summer solstice is about.
And your coloring books is so pretty too. Your galactic mandalas and mystic symbols coloring book. Very nice.
I've actually got it. I've actually got it right here. I would love to show you guys some of the ones that I've already done.
Yeah.
Because honestly, like, it's even been like an activation of sorts by just coloring them, because I'm tapping into my inner child as I'm coloring, but also like the images. Like we've got the flower of life, like how activating is that? And I purposely left like this black and this side over here white, just to represent the light and the shadow, because law of polarity, just a thing. And this is also a really fun one. It's the vortex.
Oh, that's pretty. I like the color of that.
Yeah, that's a really fun one. Yeah, and like, to me, it just feels like a lot of these things are super duper activating if you're being very intentional with your coloring. You're sitting down, you're tapping into your inner child, you're letting that creativity, that fun and expression to come out. And that gets to be really healing too, because here's the thing, a lot of people think that inner child is fucking hard, it's sad, it's all the things, and it can be sometimes, but you can also heal your inner child through joy and fun and expression too.
Yes. That's beautiful, Anna. Thank you. That Bradley
Yeah,
says
of
I would legit
course.
color in those.
Yes, order one, color in it, show it to me.
Nice to see you,
I love it when
Jordan.
people have ordered it and they share like what they've done with it. Like, that's one of my favorite things as an author of a coloring book. I'm like, yes, share me with that. I want to see.
Oh, I'm looking at the summer solstice guide as well. Summer solstice guide and journal book. Very nice.
Hmm. Yeah, so like I was saying, I go through explaining like what each season really represents, what it's good for. I give you different kinds of activities and rituals to do, but then also the last half of the book is all journal prompts. Now, these do not need to be done like on the summer solstice. This is something that you get to work through throughout the whole season, because that energy is with you for that entire season. So there's going to be times where things are going to come up and you might look to the journal book and you read a question and it's just going to hit you right in your gut. You're like, oh yeah, okay, that's something I need to look at.
Well, the signs are there. It's just whether or not we're ignoring them. Because there's so much
Well, exactly.
happening right now. It's unbelievable.
Yeah, but like the more you tune into yourself, and like I just want to remind everybody that our bodies are really fucking intelligent. And if we allow ourselves to tune into them, our body will be our initial red flag to say something doesn't feel good here, something's not right here. So just be very intentional in being in touch with your body so that you can understand when those things are coming up. That's going to help you navigate life so much more easily.
Sounds something that a lot of us need right now.
Yeah.
So I'm just also curious because I see here you've also got hold on, I just lost it there. Work with Anna on here.
Yeah, so that's a link to my calendar. And from there, you can either book a card reading session with me, because I do oracle cards as well. You can hire me as a coach for 45 minutes for an appointment. Or my favorite thing to do is I do something called cosmic Reiki or celestial Reiki. And I've recently learned that what I do is actually far beyond what actual Reiki is. I typically can, so in my experience, the Akashic records are held in an ethereal chakra called the soul star, which is just above our crown chakra, probably about here. And this
Yeah.
is where I see a lot of records being accessed. But what I've noticed through many of my Reiki sessions recently is that there's a lot of past karma and lives that get stored in the different chakras depending on what's going on for the person. So I'm going to give you a really great example. One client that I worked with recently, she has chosen not to have children in this life, and she's very content and happy about that. However, she was wondering, she's like, I don't understand though. Whenever I'm watching like a movie, a video, or something that's got like something sad or bad that happens to a child, like I get incredibly emotional. She's like, overly emotional. And she's like, and I just don't understand that. And she didn't expressly say this to me before the session. It's something we talked about after. But when I was in her sacral chakra, I literally saw it like a movie playing in my mind where she had a past life. She was a white witch and her village was raided and they had literally extracted the baby from her body and left her to die. And there was a huge wound inside of that sacral chakra from a past life. And since I've done the work on it, she's moving with clarity, she's moving with creativity, she's moving with ease, she's moving with grace. And when she has those experiences of watching something like that, she's not overly emotional anymore because we've removed that past energy that remained in the chakra itself.
Yeah. This is what we've been clearing as well. Past life, we call them past life resonances, but it's really just trauma that you are constantly reliving without even being aware that it's there.
Yes. It's a lot of removing the subconscious trauma, and that's what I really do inside of my cosmic Reiki sessions is I'm working with guides, I'm working with aliens, I'm working with any beings of light that want to come in and assist with the healing. And when we were working on her sacral chakra, it was like this gigantic team coming in like, yes, finally she's been carrying this for lifetimes and she never knew. And I was like, oh damn, okay, well we're going to take care of that for her. And we did, and it's just been incredible. There's been other times where I'm in session where I see people's higher selves and I can describe it to them. Like one lady was in this like beautiful one piece like white suit and she was riding this Pegasus and like she was just all in this white wonderful power. And I was like, girl, like you should see yourself in the ethereal, like you're fucking incredible, you're a badass. And she's like, I know. I love that. So like it's very my Reiki sessions I feel are very karmically cleansing. It's not just about clearing the chakras, getting the energy moving and feeling better. While that does do it too, it goes so much more deeply because we're clearing karmic crap through it, getting rid of that cosmic sludge that we've been hanging on to for so fucking long. And you know what? It's really freaking liberating.
I think that everything is unfolding as it's meant to right now. And if we focus on and having a lack mindset with a lot of this, because so much of what we feel we deserve creates a lack mindset. Like, oh, I don't have the things that I deserve, you know? And so I feel that most of what we're kind of starting to learn to love about ourselves is who we are, even without all of those extra things that we feel that we need in life. It's just love us at our baseline.
Yeah. Well, and also like loving and accepting ourselves at the level of our own awarenesses too. Because like if there's things we're just not aware of, then we're just not aware of them. And we don't need to shame or guilt ourselves for those things. But it is our responsibility to explore that further if we feel called to it.
Yes. So I just wanted to give Daniel Jackson a big hug. He says, well, I feel super alone after this. This is what I'm talking about, Daniel Jackson, when it comes to that lack mindset, where if you focus on what you don't have, you're just going to, be stuck with that. But if you want
you're going to keep not having it.
Yeah. It's the law of attraction. We all have to use the law of attraction wisely. And if you are focusing on the things that you don't have, you're just going to end up waiting even longer for those things. So
exactly,
it's all about loving yourself where you're at, loving your life for where it's at and what you've gone through, and just to truly embrace yourself. Because Source wanted to be you. So many of us feel unloved and unworthy, but you are literally God. God wanted to choose to be you. You are Source in physical form. And if Source wanted to be you, there's obviously a very important, powerful reason for that. And you deserve that love, regardless of all the extra shit.
Yes, girl. Yes.
You could have been anybody.
Love that.
And you chose to be you. So ask yourself, like, what is so special about me that I could have been literally anyone else in existence, but I chose to be me?
Yeah. Let that be special. Let that be the motivation that drives you to come out of that lack and scarcity, come into that joy and that bliss, right?
Yes.
All right. I just see a couple comments here that I would like to address, if that's okay,
Please.
before we hop off of here. Chantel says, how does a session generally work? Anna, Zoom? Yes. So that's exactly what we do. It is a 90-minute session. In the beginning, I do a card pull just to see where your energy's at. Then we go into the healing session. And then the last 45 minutes to half an hour is me basically going through a report. Anything that I saw in any of the chakras, I will reveal to you. Anything that guides wanted to share with you. Anything that comes through, that's where we talk about all of the stuff. And I also record that piece of it, so you can always come back to it if there's anything that you have questions about in the future, or you're like, oh shit, like she said this thing and now it's coming real, I need to listen to that again. Like, it's always available there for you as well. So yeah, that's how that works. And then RJ says, shame and guilt is a control mechanism created by men. And that like hit me, because so many men walk around with guilt and shame.
Yeah.
And it's like, we don't need to hang on to these things. It's been all part of this human experience. Yeah, maybe, and women do this too. Like, maybe you did something where you fucked shit up, or you did something wrong and now you feel bad about it. But this is again where you come back to that acceptance of the level of your awareness. You didn't know how you're going to feel through that experience. Now you do. So just don't do it again. But stop dragging yourself down because of it. You don't need to hold on to that thing that happened a year ago, 5 years ago, 20 years ago. Like, all you're doing is self-punishing through that.
Ray said, I made a post today that said, I do not lack anything. I have everything God wants me to have at this moment. Yes, Ray. Very good.
Yes, yes, yes.
What a deep conversation today. It's not been an easy conversation, especially for those who are still, working all this stuff out relationship wise. And so I feel it's a very important thing to discuss, though, because it does help us kind of navigate these the confusion of all of this right now, because I feel like humanity is starting to get to know itself on a deeper level.
Yes. Well, and that's all been part of this awakening process, right? Like, yes, we were awakening to all of these truths, but now we're also awakening to the truth of ourselves. This is like the next layer of the awakening process, because now, yes, we recognize spirit, aliens, guides, the veil, all the things, but now we're taking it a step further. Okay, well, what is it about me? What about this body? What about this vessel? What about this experience? And
that's where people
when
fizzle
you land
out.
there.
If you were to book some kind of webinar conversation about aliens and galactic beings and all these other things that exist, tons of people will show up. But if you do a webinar about healing the inner child, or doing, some kind of, it's like nobody's
showing up.
Fucking crickets. And so
it's because nobody wants to think about the healing work that needs to be done, right? Nobody wants that. They want to be, especially, this is something for any entrepreneurs out there, okay? This is something I've been learning from my own coach. It's just like, nobody wants to hear about what they need to do to get there. They just want to know what it's going to be like when they get there. And then you get them in the container, you make them do the things that are hard, and then they see, oh, that's the result. Okay, yeah, cool, thanks.
Never a dull moment here on Earth, eh?
It is never a dull moment here on Earth. And the human existence, if you allow it to be, can be a lot of fun. Yes, it comes with its bumps and its roller coasters and its ups and downs. But if you put more focus and attention into the good parts of it, the things that you enjoy and love, then all those things, other things, start to melt away and dissipate. And it's just a beautiful experience.
Oh, thank you, Anna.
Oh, you're
Everybody
so
says that was a good one today. Nice.
Yay! Yes, I felt it. I felt so inspired to talk about this today, because my own personal experiences and things that are going on. I'm like, if I'm feeling this, my friends and clients are feeling this, there's probably a lot of Laura's audience that are feeling it too. So
Absolutely. And I'm going to drop the link today. I've got the summer solstice guide, especially here. I'm going to copy that over and share that, because summer solstice is coming up. You'll definitely have it in time.
Yes.
If you were to order. So those of you who want to do the inner work, there's an opportunity to kind of get to know yourself a little better and to figure out what you're working on and working towards.
Yeah, and these guides will help you also like connect to the earth, connect to the element, which in turn will help you be more in tune with your own body. And that's where the magic really begins.
Wonderful. Thank you, Anna. Such a
Thank you so much for having me.
conversation today. I enjoyed it
Yes.
immensely.
Yay, I did too.
Make sure that you guys follow Anna. If you go click her link tree, you'll see that she's got social media pages that you can follow. You can check out all her stuff on YouTube. I'm sorry, you got a YouTube channel too, yeah? I thought so, yeah.
Yeah, so my YouTube channel is like a bunch of meditations. So like if you like guided meditations and you have specific things that you're working on, I've got like affirmational meditations. I got meditations to help you ground. I got all kinds of things. Go check it out.
Perfect. Thank you so much. And to those of you
Thank
who are in my
you.
SRT course, I hope you'll join us in an hour. We're going to have practice sessions with Carolyn. It'll be very exciting. Thank you, everybody who showed up today. It's so wonderful to have you as
Yes,
part of
thank
our
you.
conversation. We're so grateful. We're so blessed to have such a wonderful community. I love you all
Yes.
so much. I hope you have a great day, and I will see you guys tomorrow. Take care, everyone. Bye.
Friends.